This is Algebra 1, and this is Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Students will be able to solve one-step equations involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we're going to begin with the addition property of equality. Adding the same number to each side of an equation produces an equivalent equation. So if A is equal to B, for example, if they're both 2, and if I add the same number to both sides, I get an equivalent equation. So what does that mean? Here's an example. If we have x minus 3 equals 2, I can solve this equation by adding the same number to both sides of the equation. And the negative 3 plus 3 cancel, and x equals 5. We can do the same in the second example, except the variable is on the right. So I can add 5 to both sides, and x then equals 11. So that's the addition or subtraction property of equality. The same is true for subtraction. If A and B are the same, we can subtract the same number from each side of the equation, and it will produce an equivalent equation. So if I take A and subtract C, it will equal the same as B subtracting C if A and B were the same. So example 3, x plus 4 equals negative 2. To solve this equation, we're going to subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. And negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. So x must be negative 6. Example number 4, 0 equals x plus 1. To solve this equation, we need to subtract the 1 from both sides of the equation. And then x equals negative 1. Pause the video and solve problems 5, 6, and 7. Alright, now that you are complete, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides, and b equals negative 40. Number 6, you will subtract 11 from both sides, and n equals negative 14. And number 7, we will add 7 to both sides, so y equals 49. Moving on to multiplication. The multiplication property of equality says that multiplying each side of an equation by the same non-zero number produces an equivalent equation. So again, if A and B are the same, if I take and multiply A times C, it will equal the same as B times C. Alright, here's our examples. X is being divided by 5, and that's equal to negative 6. So to undo the division by 5, we're going to multiply both sides of our equation by 5. And x ends up being negative 30. In number 9, we're going to apply that same property. Y is being divided by negative 2. So to undo divide by negative 2, we are going to multiply both sides by negative 2. So y is 6. And the last property that we need to talk about is the division property of equality. Again, if two sides of an equation are the same, and if I divide both numbers by the same number, we will get an equivalent equation. So if I take A and divide it by C, and B divided by C, we get an equivalent equation. Number 10, 15x equals 60. 15 is being multiplied by x. So to undo the multiplication, we will divide by 15, and x equals 4. Problem 11, m is being multiplied by 4. So we're going to divide by 4 to get m equaling negative 8. So go ahead and solve each of these equations on your own. Pause the video. Now that you have completed 12 through 16, we're going to solve each equation. Y divided by 3. We need to multiply by 3 on both sides to undo the division, and 0 times 3 is 0, so y must be 0. Number 13. Notice that negative 7 is being added to x. To undo that negative 7, we need to add 7, because negative 7 plus 7 is 0, which leaves x by itself. On the right-hand side, negative 3 plus 7 is positive 4, so x must be 4. 8 is being multiplied by this figure. To get the figure by itself, we're going to divide by 8. So the question mark box equals 2 divided by 8. Well, 2 divided by 8 reduces to 1/4. So the answer must be 1/4. Number 15, t is being subtracted by 11. So to undo that, we're going to add 11 to both sides, and t equals 1. And then last but not least, we have 5/9 being multiplied by x. To undo 5/9, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So x equals, I'm going to turn -10 into 10 over 1, cross reduce, and -2 times 9 is -18. So x must be -18. That concludes the one-step equations. Please take out your notebook and begin your assignment.